Hello and welcome. We are going to be talking about some wonderful holiday flavors as we move into fall and that nice Christmas winter season that we have coming up. I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service, your family and consumer science agent. So those scents, those flavors, all of those things that combine to just make us feel like, oh, it's fall. Oh, it's the holidays. We are going to talk specifically about those things for the next few episodes. So we're going to start out with pumpkin. Then we're going to do a little bit, we're going to talk about cinnamon, peppermint, and ginger, which is a fun one that I've got to learn a lot of new things about. So let's start off with pumpkin. Now, obviously, pumpkin gives us that fall feel. I love having them on my porch. I love that bright orange color. I want to see them mixed in with all those fall leaves. Even though it's not quite cold enough here yet, our leaves are just starting to turn and it feels a little late in the year for that. But pumpkin gives us that fall feel. And the great thing about it, it will transition right into whatever other holidays, things that we're celebrating with your pumpkin pies and your pumpkin cookies and all of those fun things that happen. So one of the things that we hear all the time, oh, pumpkin latte, it's pumpkin spice time. You can make your own pumpkin latte at home. So we're gonna do that real quick. I always have to look at my recipe because sometimes I tell you guys the wrong amounts when I just try to remember. So I wanna make sure we get it right. We're gonna start off with 2 cups of milk. Now I'm using skim milk today. If you are lactose intolerant or for whatever reason can't have dairy-based milk, you can use whatever milk works for you to make this. So 2 cups of milk, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of pumpkin puree, which I have right here, already measured out for us. We're gonna add that to our milk. Okay, we're just in a small saucepan over about, what I have is about medium heat, so that we can just put that in there. And so it's starting to cream together. We've got getting that pumpkin all mixed in with our milk. And then we're gonna add our spices. And we're gonna do pumpkin pie spice. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, then you can just cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves can make your own pumpkin pie spice. And get those flavors. If you like cloves a little more, you like nutmeg a little more, you can adjust the strength of that. Traditional pumpkin pie is always a good way to go. So we have about a teaspoon of, we're gonna do half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, half a teaspoon of just our good old vanilla extract, and then we're gonna do a tablespoon. Now here you can do sugar, regular sugar, or you can do some maple syrup. Now this is a light syrup, it's not the full sugar fat kind. So that's gonna be our sugary good flavoring that we're gonna add in there. So we're gonna put that in with our milk and pumpkin to get all those great flavors. We should start getting the scent off this. Now, here's the thing. We don't want to boil our milk. We don't want to burn our milk. We don't want it scalded. We just want it nice and steamy. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn down some of our heat here in my little pan. So that is just starting to steam up. I'm gonna grab this. Okay, and then you can, if you want to take a whisk and just whisk it to get that good creamy feel to it. Okay, and I can see it's starting to steam up here for us. So we're gonna get at that little bit of frothiness, there's a good word for us, so that we can add it to our coffee. So obviously, latte, that's the coffee part. So I have just some good strong black coffee, or if you do espresso, if you want a shot of espresso. So about a half a cup of coffee. That's what we're gonna put in there. I'm gonna turn off And so you can always pour this into your glass measuring cup, something that's gonna be easier to measure and pour it out. I'm just gonna pour a little bit on top of, right there, on top of our coffee. So you can see our milk mixture with our pumpkin. There's it going into our coffee right now. We can just top that off, right? Always top it off. Some whipped cream on top. We can sprinkle a little spice to that. Look how fancy, how wonderful at a party when you have guests over, or just a treat for yourself. When you don't have time maybe to make it into town, you're not gonna be able to spend the extra money on all of those parts and pieces. Take a little bit of what you already have around the house, make your own pumpkin latte. You can also make it in a to-go cup. Take it along with you wherever you need to go at the end of the party. Send everybody home with their own pumpkin latte, have it with their dessert. So that's a very simple way that we can incorporate, and it's very inexpensive, to incorporate some pumpkin flavor into our fall. The next one that I have for you is a little more complicated. Then that one has a little more parts and pieces, but you will not be sorry. This is a wonderful alternative to pumpkin pie. Maybe you're not a pie maker, maybe you don't do the crusts, maybe those are just things that you're not into. That's perfectly okay. This is gonna be a super simple thing that you can pull together, and it's just gonna be a pumpkin pie bar. And the great thing about it, we're gonna start with a cake mix. This is just a yellow cake mix. We're gonna separate it out so that we have 1 cup of the cake mix pulled out. And so we are going to put our cake mix with our melted butter, and then we're gonna add an egg. So the cake mix, our butter, and 1 egg in this bowl. We're gonna mix that together to make the base, and then we're gonna press that into our greased 9x13 pan. Okay, so that's 1 cup of our cake mix, 1 egg that we're gonna throw in here, and then our melted butter, and this is 1/2 cup, so 1 stick of melted butter. This is gonna cream together. Whip up that egg a little bit. Okay, so pretty simple. Yellow cake mix. Now, if you wanted to get out your hand mixer, if you use a countertop mixer, any of those things, that would be fine for you to use to put together this particular dish. For the purposes of today, and just for the noise factor in making a video, we're just gonna hand mix everything, and that works perfectly fine. So, I've sprayed our pan to coat that. If you prefer a little shortening and grease it and coat it with flour, you're welcome to do that, however works for you. So we're gonna take, again, this is our cake portion of our cake mix. This bowl out of the way. And we're just gonna spread that all over the bottom of our pan. Now, this is going to be our base. So this pan is kind of big, but it spreads out where you can kind of see everything well. Okay, so we're just gonna get that all evenly spread around our pan. Make sure that it's all incorporated in there. Okay, doesn't want you spread out too even for me, but that's okay. It's gonna all cook together and be great. So then the pumpkin part. Obviously very important that we have the pumpkin part ready to go. And so what you're gonna need for that, we're gonna do one, this is our 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. sure we scrape and get all of that out of there. Then we have a can. This is just good old evaporated milk. It's gonna give it that creaminess, help it cook and come together. We're gonna put that in there, and then we're gonna add 2 eggs to this portion. So all of these recipes are available in our newsletter. Comes out every couple of months to coincide with our video series. So if you're interested in getting signed up to receive that newsletter, has information about other things going on in and around the county, whatever tips and tricks. There's always some information about food preservation, canning, things along those lines. So if that's something you would be interested in receiving, give us a call here at the Curry County Extension Office, 575-763-6505, or you can always go online and find us at curryextension.nmsu.edu, because we are part of the New Mexico State University system. So we're gonna blend that together until it is nice and smooth, and then we're gonna put in, this is just a cup of sugar, and then for this one, we want to do 2 teaspoons. Okay, that's not what we're supposed to do. We want to do 2 teaspoons of our pumpkin pie spice. So we're going to measure that out. It's about 2 teaspoons. The nice thing about these kind of spices, again, you can flavor things to your taste, what your family prefers and likes the best. So we're gonna get that all mixed up in there, and you can see that wonderful pumpkin-y color coming out of that. Scrape my sides. Make sure I get all of those flavors back down in there and mixed up well. Again, if you wanted to use your electric mixer to do this, that might speed it up a little in the process. Okay, so then we're just gonna take our pumpkin mixture now. We're gonna pour it right over the top of that cake mix base, okay? Now I will scrape that out later. Then we're gonna take what's left of our cake mix. Now, I learned something in making the last one. So, it says to sprinkle all that is left in this package. I don't think you need all of it, because you want it to kind of sink down into the pumpkin part when it bakes. So I think you're gonna just wanna use a portion of that to put it here on the top. Kind of smush that around. I'm going to move that over, and I'm going to show you what came out of the oven. So these are our finished pumpkin pie bars. We're going to take that, we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for 45 to 50 minutes until it's done, and the top's going to make that. Now, like I said, we used the whole package of cake mix on the top of this one, and I was not happy with how it was cooking up. So I went back. This is just some spray butter. You could put pats of butter, something else on the top to add to that, to get that to kind of cook in and make that nice crispy top. Then we want to let it cool. This one has not been cooling, okay? It's only been out of the oven just a few minutes, but I'm going to see if we can pop a piece out of here so that we can see what our layers look like. Down here a little. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not as happy with the cake mix on the top. I think you're gonna want to, but doesn't that look like ooey gooey goodness with all that wonderful pumpkin flavor to go along with it? Something you can enjoy. Like I said, Simpler than having to make pie crust, put it all together, pop it in the oven, have a wonderful treat, maybe on your Thanksgiving table, Christmas Day, as you're having desserts and treats and all of your cookies, maybe leave this for Santa instead of a cookie. I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service, your Family and Consumer Science agent. This has been part 1 of our Holiday Flavor Series. I hope you'll join me right back here next time.